Hey guys, welcome back. Yeah, what did you just say? This is information from a reliable source. It appears that they found the murder of Satoshi Kon's aunt. It had been a few weeks since the murder. Satoshi Kon still hadn't been found, and no new information on his whereabouts. Kasai's report came as a result completely out of the blue. Does that mean the police arrested the culprit? It seems that he confessed during his interrogation regarding another case. That sounded strange. If it was Satoshi Kon they arrested, he wouldn't have worded it that way. Worded that way. It sounded as though Satoshi Kon was the culprit. Kasai, who's the culprit? So it was Satoshi Kon. I swallowed those final words. I was convinced that it was Satoshi Kon. The police in Oishi must have thought the same way. The reason Oishi approached maybe is because he was convinced that Satoshi Kon did it. Don't worry, it doesn't seem like it's Satoshi Kon. I heard it was a lunatic who was aiming to continue the mysteries of the mysterious deaths. What? A lunatic? What do you mean? Kasai shrugged. I don't know. Since the investigation is classified as a confidential case, the information I can get is limited. Confidential? Why? To prevent the village from developing a bad reputation. You don't see those articles about kidnapping while the police are negotiating with the culprit, do you? It's something similar to that. When I think of it, I haven't seen anything about the aunt's murder on TV or in a newspaper. These strange deaths have happened 4 years in a row now on the day of the Higurashi. There are those who try to make light of it, and now this lunatic who confessed the aunt's murder said he did it in the imitation of the series of mysterious deaths. Because I didn't know anything else, so instead of probing him further, I reviewed the information myself. I was really shocked to learn all this. I was convinced that Satoshi Kon killed her. I thought that was the reason he had to disappear, but it was actually some lunatic who killed her and had no relation to the aunt whatsoever. So Satoshi Kon had nothing to do with the murder. If so, why did he disappear? Couldn't accept that this lunatic had killed the aunt, and what's really strange is the phrase because I used 4 years in a row now. After all, I've been thinking that this murder happened because Satoshi Kon had been in a dire situation and had nothing to do with the series of mysterious deaths. I felt as though Satoshi Kon's case has become somebody else's. The series of mysterious deaths in Hinamasawa is also known as the Curse of Oyoshiro-sama. Satoshi Kon's case has become one of those mysterious deaths. In other words, Satoshi Kon's case has become a part of Oyoshiro-sama's curse. I didn't like the way it sounded because it was as though the curse had swallowed Satoshi Kon. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to confirm this tip of Satoshi Kon to Katrina of Tokyo. We don't even know where there or not he's in this prefecture, to be honest. I wish he broke the seal on a new can of instant coffee. I thought you'd know his whereabouts already, since you seemed to be very convinced that he was a culprit. You got me. Higurashi chuckled and poured a cup of coffee, which looked far too hot. You have some good sources, huh? It's highly classified case, but you already have this information. I wonder who leaked it. Looks like we need to review our security precautions. Oishi smirked. Seems he knew why I was here today. I'm one of those Sonozakis after all. My ears are open. I smirked back at him. It's all about bluffing anyway. Since we are friends now, why don't we have a chat? Let me ask you first, who's this real culprit? I heard you was a lunatic, but what does that mean? I don't know how to answer that question. I wouldn't know the answer myself. Really, I was convinced Satoshi Kon was the real culprit. It was rather surprising for me, too. Oishi threw himself on the sofa and crossed his hands behind his head. He looked up at the ceiling and smiled wryly. I suddenly received a call from the prefectural police the other day. They said that one of the guys in detention confessed to the murder of the housewife. Who is it? He's a crazy dopehead. He's been in and out of prison for drug abuse. His statement says that he was interested in this series of mysterious deaths and he wanted to imitate them. Are you sure he's the real culprit? I didn't interrogate him myself, but the prefectural police tells me that he has information that only the real culprit would know. He seems to have thrown the murder weapon into the Oji River. They're searching for it right now. If it's found, his statement will be solid. And if the weapon was found, will the case be closed? Probably. His statement clearly outlines the state of the crime scene and the body. This information, like I said, covers details that only the actual murderer would know. You don't seem quite convinced. Oishi, still looking up at the ceiling, went quiet. As a matter of fact, Otope was already dead by the time I got their call. Dead, you know those spoons that are forked at the tip? They used those at the tissue facility. I was told he swallowed one and choked on it. They couldn't tell if it was suicide or if it was caused by some mental disorder. I imagine somebody swallowing that spoon and gag, so the investigation had been done that thoroughly, but although I'm not convinced my superiors are, I think that with that, the case will be closed. Oishi turned his eyes from the ceiling to me. He looked so serious. This is just what I personally feel, okay, so please keep it between the two of us. I believe that the lunatic is some kind of mistake. I might be either a big misunderstanding caused by the genetic coincidence or, Nah, I have no idea what you're talking about. I still believe that the real culprit is Satoshi Hojo-kan. You sound confident. Unfortunately, we couldn't find anything to prove he was at the crime scene. We obtained a warrant to search his house after he disappeared, but we still found nothing. But we still believe he did it. Yes. I wonder how you can be so sure even though you don't have any evidence. It's incredible. Is it that supposed to be like the hunch of an experienced detective? Yep. It's a hunch of a guy who's been in this business for several decades. Oishi smiled in satisfaction, but I didn't feel relieved. Where did Satoshi-kun go? His disappearance convinced me that he was the culprit. If he wasn't the culprit, there would be no real reason for him to disappear. What if the murder actually was done by the lunatic and Satoshi-kun's disappearance had something to do with it? In other words, what if Satoshi-kun disappeared because the Sonozaki family didn't like my relationship with them, and he had something to do with the murder? Was Satoshi-kun a culprit or a victim? The reason for his disappearance has become unclear. I don't think they'd bother to make one person disappear just because of an undesirable relationship. What do you hear from the inside, son of the Sonozaki family? Do you know anything? I wouldn't be here if I did. Nah, you're right. Boy, she left out loud while scratching his head, and after he stopped laughing, he leaned over. Alright, how about this? Why don't we make a deal? A gentleman's deal. Deal on what? On information about Satoshi-kun's disappearance. If you find any information like that, you tell me, and I'll provide you with the information if I find any. Do we have a deal? That sounds too convenient for you. Oishi chuckled. Sean-san, if we leave things as they are, I'll conclude that the lunatic committed the murder. If that happens, Satoshi-kun's disappearance will be treated just as another runaway minor. They won't search for him as actively as before. I will continue searching for him, only I will do it. I believe you're intending to do the same. Our motives are different, though. I just wanted to know if he's safe, but you'd like to arrest him, wouldn't you? If the murder case was considered solved, so Satoshi-kun will be free, regardless of his innocence. I doubt that. She chuckled again, but a smile didn't reach his eyes. Well, let's be friends from now on. The enemy of your enemy is your friend, no? I'm not opposed to the Sonozaki family, though. Oh, really? I apologize, Amy. This is the way of Kuroda Oishi, As Susan, because I said I wouldn't want him as my enemy or an ally, because both would be too risky. I probably shouldn't let my guard down in front of the big fat weasel. Damn. I sipped on the coffee to fill up the silence so I wasn't thirsty. Outside the window I could see normal life ticking its course, but Satoshi-kun wasn't there. He should have been there, but he wasn't. I was scared that I might grow used to his absence someday. Where was he? I wonder how Satoshi-kun is doing. I hope he's alright. I know you think he might be dead. Don't patronize me. Do you know what people are calling his disappearance in Hinamizawa? Huh? They said that he was demoned away. To be demoned away means the same thing as being spirited away. It's part of the local dialect. He was kidnapped to take it to the hell to the bottom of the Onegafuchi swamp? That's ridiculous. Anyway, the series of mysterious deaths is struck for the fourth time. It's too soon, but people are already talking about next year. The accidental murder was a result of the Oyosho-sama's curse. The victim was one of the Hojos after all. She was involved in the damn conflict, though indirectly. Really, it's unsurprising that some people take an interest in the incidents because they always do happen on the day of the Lord Higurashi. That's ridiculous too, Oyosho-sama's curse. Though I said that, I couldn't quite wipe away that fear from my mind. Why did Satoshi-kun disappear? Was it the Sonozaki family? Did he run away from the police? Did he really kill his aunt in the first place? Why did he even disappear? He's on his own. Oyosho-sama's curse has nothing to do with it. But, that's strange. Satoshi-kun and Oyosho-sama's curse. Somebody once mentioned those two together before. What did I hear? Oh, that's right. That rainy day, it was Reina Ryugu who told me that when we were taking shelter in that shack. I remember that creepy story that she told me at the time. Satoshi-kun wants to leave Hinamizawa and ran far away, even if only uncautiously. That's why Reina Ryugu said Reina had definitely pointed out to Satoshi-kun who wanted to leave Hinamizawa at the time. She also said, Everything he's going through is the sign of Oyashiro-sama's curse. She said that for sure. She had definitely mentioned Oyashiro-sama's curse. The series of mysterious deaths has struck for 4 times. Why is Satoshi Kon in control by the curse? Is that why he killed his aunt and was demoned away? No way, that can't be true. So Satoshi Kon somehow faded away in my mind. Satoshi Kon disappeared. Not only that, the reason for his disappearance also disappeared. It must have been done by a human being. I can't accept that he was demoned away. Open page 43. I moved from one chair to another because the air conditioning was too cold. I moved with my notebook, my pen case with a bunch of keychains, my cup of milk tea. I did it all in one go. I sat down in my new chair and then opened my notebook again. I scribbled my thoughts and sank into silence. The series of mysterious deaths, dubbed the Curse of Oyashiro-sama. I've been viewing each incident as a separate case, even though it's followed by one another. I've never looked at all the cases as part of a big one scheme. After I wrote down all the incidents on paper, it became clear to me that all of them served the same agenda. I wrote down the victims. The first year, the construction site manager. The second year, Satoshi Kon's parents. The third year, the priest. The fourth year, Satoshi Kon's aunt. For the fourth year, one could consider Satoshi Kon himself to be the victim rather than his aunt. If I consider that each case arose with the grudge over the dam conflict, it's quite simple. In the first year, the construction manager was killed because he was a symbol of the dam construction itself. Of course, the real enemy was the Ministry of Construction, but it wasn't as clear as a target. The manager, on the other hand, had been aggressively shouting back at the villagers, so he was a more appropriate enemy to attack. If Oyashiro-sama had really cursed someone, it would have been the officials from the ministry. It's apparent that the target was selected based on the villagers' preference. The second year, the accidental death of Satoshi Kon's parents. It said that they fell from a cliff in some park, but it's definitely it was not really an accident. His parents were labeled as traitors to the village because they started with the dam construction, even though they were also from Hinamizawa. The Hojo family was ostracized during the dam conflict in order to prevent further pro-dam activists from rising up. That means the Hojos were necessary during the conflict to play the role of the traitor. So even when the conflict was over, they no longer served any purpose. The construction site manager was a symbol of external enemy. The Hojos were a symbol of the internal enemy. Those people fell victim to the curse. It seemed that the grudge over the dam conflict had ended. Yet those incidents were followed one by another. The third year, the leader of one of the three families, a priest, Furude, suddenly died of an illness with an unknown cause. His wife drowned herself on the same night. She seemed to have left a note that says she was sacrificing herself to pacify Oyashiro-sama's anger. Whether it was a fatal disease or suicide, their deaths looked suspicious. Nyan admitted that the Sanzaki family didn't like the priest's attitude. They didn't like how the priest had been generous toward the pro-dam activists. The priest was a quiet traitor, but he was certainly uncooperative. Looking at these incidents, I realized that the curse was performed based on the degree of hostility, enemy, traitor, and dissident. This meant that the curse was actually payment. It was a punishment for the criminal of war. In the fourth year, I didn't understand this case at first, to be honest. At first, I believed that this case was separate from the other ones, even though it occurred on the same day. I never thought there would be any relationship to the other three. When I wrote it down, looked at it objectively, the victim was a relative of a traitor. After enemy, traitor, and dissident, relative of a traitor doesn't sound too hard. It comes naturally as a fourth target. On the day of the villagers' worship, Oyashiro-sama, their guardian deity, the criminals of the dam conflict have been punished by the curse. Just like I forced to pay at the Sanzaki house, the criminals were made to pay as well. After writing these sayings out, I started thinking that the fourth incident might be in line with a series of mysterious deaths after all. Whether it was Satoshi Kon or the dope head, it seemed that they were forced to play the role of a murderer as a part of a bigger scenario. Even if Satoshi Kon was a real culprit, even if he did kill his aunt because of an ordinary grudge, the murder seems synchronized with the grand scheme of the series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa, which is a payment plan for war criminals. That murder was a result of his pain. But what if somebody playing that as a part of a scenario? For instance, somebody might have suggested to him to kill his aunt on that day, that night at that place. And no doubt Satoshi Kon decided to kill her in order to protect Satoko. But did he really reach that conclusion on his own? Satoshi was optimistic and somewhat detached. As far as I know, would he really have considered murdering his aunt, even if it was the particular sister? Couldn't it be possible for somebody to have chosen the aunt as the fourth year splitter beforehand, and they used Satoshi Gun? Is Satoshi was eliminated because of his connection with them? Looking at it that way, the murder of the first year resembles this case. The main culprit behind the case had been found dead or alive. The other culprits testified that their fight had turned into a slaughter. But wouldn't it be possible that the main culprit had manipulated the situation? What if he had been told to kill someone on that day at the time and in that place? I'm certain the first murder resembles Satoshi Kon's case very much. So did that mean Satoshi Kon was being controlled by somebody else? Or she had presented me with the hypothesis that the Sotosaki family made Satoshi Kon disappear in order to end my relationship with the murderer. But when I read the notes I wrote down, his disappearances seemed to be too spontaneous. It seemed like a part of a bigger plan. Since I unexpectedly got involved in that plan, I had to be separated from him. Then Satoshi Kon was deemed away as planned. At first, I was also believed that the Sotosaki family made him disappear because they didn't like that I was in love with a member of a family of traders, but something didn't add up. Something felt strange. I wasn't the reason for his disappearance after all. Even if I never met him in the first place, Satoshi Kon was supposed to kill his aunt in June 1982 and then disappear. At one point, I've been thinking of taking revenge on the hag. I believe that she separated us, but what if a relationship with Satoshi Kon had nothing to do with this disappearance? What would that mean? Who made Satoshi Kon disappear? I need to understand the series of mysterious deaths in order to solve this mystery. What did all these deaths mean? Who was behind them, and what purpose did they serve? I wanted to know the purpose, the motive, and who was responsible. Who took Satoshi Kon? I wanted to know if he was still alive. As a series of mysterious deaths in Higurashi is also called Oyoshiro-sama's curse. What is that curse? Specifically, what kind of god is Oyoshiro-sama? What blessings does he bring you? What punishments does he dole out? I wrote down my thoughts in a notebook. What's Oyoshiro-sama? What is he? I scribbled these things down. I was so absorbed by it that I realized somebody was standing behind me and watching me the whole time. I could have stopped myself from gasping when I realized that. I'm sorry. Did I startle you? And the intelligent-looking woman giggled. No, I was just a bit surprised. Sorry about that. She could have apologized a little better, too, since she'd been watching me from behind. But she just stared at my face instead. Are you Shion Sotosaki-san? You must know since you know my name, but I don't know who you are. Being twins is a pain sometimes. People you never met before can tell exactly who you are. I'm sorry, the Sotosaki-san I know would never have been seated in the library, so I assumed that you were her twin sister. The woman giggled again. Well, you are right. I'm Shion Sotosaki. Nice to meet you. May I ask your name? Oh, sorry, I should have introduced myself first. She seemed to love her own hair because she kept running her fingers through it boastfully. I'm Mio Takano. You can call me Mio, Shion-chan. Nice to meet you, Takano said. Her condescending attitude bugged me. I hate meeting people like that. I closed my notebook and got ready to leave the desk. Oh, are you upset? Thank you for your concern. I'd like to be alone with what I'm thinking. So I'll move me to another spot, excuse me. That's a shame. I thought we'd be good friends, didn't you? I don't think so. I finally met someone with the same profession, a fellow researcher at the Oyoshiro-sama's curse. I think it's quite unusual to meet someone like that. She saw my nose, my face reddened. These are just theories, it's all nonsense. Just childish scribbles. The series of mysterious deaths is also known as Oyoshiro-sama's curse. Though each death is an independent incident, all of them clearly share the same purpose. Each year someone dies with the curse, and someone else's sacrifice disappears. What? When you say it all of a sudden, someone dies and someone else what? I was taken aback by her weird smile, or spiel. But I realized right away that she said something extraordinary. Then you notice that the number of victims is always even. Haven't you realized that yet? The number of victims is always even. I was so confused. But I tried to figure out what that meant. The damn construction site manager died in the first year, and there was only one victim. In the second year, the victim was one of the parents of Satoshi Kon, so it was two people. In the third year, it was a priest, and her death was also planned to swipe again, two again. And this year, the fourth Satoshi Kon's aunt died, and Satoshi Kon went missing. And Satoshi Kon's disappearance was planned, and the minimum of victims was two. It's true, except for the first one, the victims always came to an even number two. Wait, I just concluded myself that the first case resembled the fourth one. The main culprit was still missing. He might have been deemed away, just like Satoshi Kon. See? Does it make sense now? Takano-san sounded like a teacher as you showed me how to solve a difficult math problem. I wasn't quite convinced, but I couldn't deny what she said either. Did I give you enough hints? I really would have enjoyed a conversation with you, but I think you prefer being alone. I'm sorry that I wasn't respectful of me outside. Please call me Shion. She seemed content that changed my attitude. She kept giggling for a while. She didn't seem that reliable. I didn't want to be acquainted with her for too long, but I don't get to talk to people very much, and what she said interested me. Let me introduce myself again. I'm Mio Takano. Call me Mio. Pleased to meet you, Mio-san. I'm Shion Sonozaki, Mion's twin sister. Please call me Shion. I took the hand that Mio-san held as a sign of reconciliation. Please tell me more. He said there was always two victims. One dies through the curse and the other is a sacrifice. Xiao-chan, before we get to that, could you tell me why you became interested in this? She leaned over and looked into my eyes. It was kind of uncomfortable. So how much do you know about me? I guess you have an idea if you know my name. I don't know much, just like you recently returned from a boarding school. I see, so I think you can imagine that I wanted to know about the series of mysterious deaths that happened while I was away. I'm just curious. I see, you're curious, eh? I got the impression that she knew about what happened to Satoshi Kanami because she instantly recognized me as Shion, not Mion. I don't know why I thought that way, as she shouldn't have access to the sources for that, for instance, Oishi does. It was just the look in her eyes that made me think that way. Let me ask you a question this time. You called me a fellow researcher of Oreo Shiosuma's curse, didn't you? So why are you researching the curse? You also stated that there was always an even number of victims in the mysterious deaths. It's true that Hinazawa's mysterious deaths are often called Oreo Shiosuma's curse, but why would you delve into the mysterious deaths if you're researching the curse itself? Sean-chan, you're asking too many questions at once. I can't tell what you really want to know. Oh, I couldn't say anything in return. Maybe I've been too inquisitive. I'll answer your questions one by one. I'm not just researching the cars. My subject is much broader than that. I'm researching the history of Onigafuchi Village. In plain terms, I'm researching the dark and ancient history of Hinazawa. Onigafuchi Village is the Onigafuchi Village, the bottomless swamp some people believe is connected to hell. And with dark history, I kept answering questions. We also, however, looked pleased to hear them. Onigafuchi Village is the old name for Hinazawa, as it was known back before the Meiji era. About the dark history, you know a little bit about the man-eating demons, I assume. The man-eating demons, huh? That was a fairy tale told in Hinazawa. A long time ago, demons came out of the swamp, and while the villagers battled with them, they ended up living peacefully together. The villagers transcended and became a sacred people having demon blood in their veins. That long-forgotten fairy tale came back to my mind vividly. You know this story because you're a villager, of course, but what about the story of the cannibal banquet? And what's that? You know, the villagers have the blood of many demons in their veins, don't you? Yeah, I think I've heard of it. I dodged the question. Hinazawa used to be a desolate village, but it grew in prominence after the Second World War and expanded its influence to Okinawa in other areas. The people who disliked and discriminated against the villagers called us man-eating demons. I remember that. The young villagers don't take it seriously, but the older people get seriously upset about it. They certainly can't take it as a joke. So the term man-eating demons is forbidden. We normally never use it. Even during my rebellious phase, I never spoke those words. Miyosa, however, seemed to have no qualms when saying it out loud. Are you upset? About what? I know people hate that phrase in Hinazawa. I apologize if I made you feel uncomfortable. Most people wouldn't like it, but I'm fine. Would you continue? Thanks. Okay, so the ancient villagers had a custom of cannibalism. They ritualized this custom and held various ceremonies around it. The festival we held in June isn't just an early summer festival. It is used a banquet in which the villagers chased up their sacrifice and ate them. They bound the sacrifice to a table, gutted them, and dumped the organs into a river. Wada can mean cotton, but it also means organs. That's the root of the word watanagashi. Organ drifting watanagashi. Indeed, I believe they started using futon mats to cover it all up around the Meiji era. According to my research, they wouldn't be able to do it that openly nowadays. Everything Beyonce was talking about sounded startling. I was just taken aback. I couldn't wholly believe it right away. As you see, it's that from my expression. It's on a hoax, and then it gave this step. If you promise I'll tell you what, I can show you my notes of one Tanagashi. Beyonce took out a notebook from her bag and flipped through it. She appeared to be doing her research thoroughly. Thank you. I'd love to read it. Sure, I'll love to keep it confidential. Yeah, but I guess I should share it with my fellow researcher. Beyonce handed me the notebook a bit hesitantly. It looked like it took a whole night to finish reading. It was densely packed with information. I saw copies of various documents and codes in there too. It wasn't some delusions of hers. You told me that one person dies because of the curse and another person is sacrificed and disappears, right? A person is sacrificed and disappears. Satoshi Kon had gone missing. Did he become a sacrifice? What is a sacrifice anyway? He also looked pleased to hear my questions again. She took out another notebook and handed it to me. I think you'll understand once you read it, but I'll give you the gist version. Oyashiro-sama's curse is simply Oyashiro-sama's anger. In other words, the curse is caused by Oyashiro-sama's anger. Do you follow? Yes, you're saying that Oyashiro-sama was mad at the people who imposed the village during the damn conflict, and that's what caused the curse to occur. That's right, Oyashiro-sama's anger has to be pacified, if not something even worse will occur. So all the successive priests at the Furude shrine had to perform a sacrifice every time this curse struck in order to pacify Oyashiro-sama. It's called a sacrificial ritual, so each year on the day of the Tanagashi, one person dies because of the curse, and another is sacrificed to pacify Oyashiro-sama's anger, but only one person is actually murdered each time. I never heard of a human sacrifices being made. Naturally, there's no body. The ritual sacrifice requires offering to be sunk in the Onigufuchi swamp. That swamp is bottomless, and no one would ever surface once they were thrown in there. Nobody would ever be found, of course. So one of the victims is always thrown into the swamp every year. Does that mean Satoshi Kon is also at the bottom of that dark green swamp? I don't know. I'm not sure they really throw them into the swamp, but those who make these incidents happen must be eliminating one person based on that legend. Each year, a traitor to the village dies on the day of the Tanagashi because of Oyashiro-sama's curse. And another person is sacrificed in order to pacify Oyashiro-sama's anger. That person's body will never be found because he or she is supposedly thrown into the bottom of the swamp. Yes, you get it. Those serious, mysterious deaths always involve both of the curse and sacrifice. It's a system that lost 2 traitors and die every year. What I'm telling you now probably isn't sufficient, so it might be hard to grasp. Instead, I want you to take the time to read my notes. You'll see that what I'm telling you isn't far from the truth at all. I heard a man's voice just then. A middle-aged man with a hat was waving at me outside from the entrance. Sorry, I think I have to go. I wanted to talk to you more, but I guess we'll have another chance to chat. I'll leave those notes to you. I'm looking forward to hearing your opinions. Mio said after the conversation headed to where the man was waiting for her. She left her own notebooks in my hand. Mio said winked at me as she left the library with her companion. I took a seat again and opened what she'd given me. What bugged me was the series of mysterious deaths, also known as the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Maybe I'd be able to get closer to the truth by reading these notes. If I studied them carefully, I might be able to find out who was really behind the incident. Why did Satoshi Kon have him disappear? What was he involved in? How did it happen? Maybe Takedo's notes would be the answer. Research notes Mio Takedo. I started flipping the pages this time, making sure that no one was watching over my shoulder. Oh man, my nose is starting to get stuffed again. Oh, it's time for my library to close. I had to leave. I bought some food on my way home. I shut my door and locked it right away, and then I heard the door of the neighboring apartment open. Guess I lived next door. Nobody else was on this floor. I lived in a nearly empty apartment building anyway. I clearly heard the door open and close. Guess I was so this I came home. I was coming over because he wanted to talk to me. I locked the door and shouted out to him. Is that you, Kasai? I'll leave the door locked for you. I'm not Kasai, she outside. That voice a twitch. Can I come in? Sure, sis. The door slowly opened. My alter ego, Nyan Sonozaki, appeared, holding a box of cake. While smiling timidly, are you going to keep sitting there until I escort you? Come in. Sorry, this room doesn't look very cute. It looks uncomfortable. She looked a bit tense when entering my room. It was her first time here. How's life? My new school is as boring as I thought it would be. I usually go by the same classes when I don't feel up to it. I couldn't do with that when I was going to St. Lucia's. So St. Lucia's is really tough, huh? You should go there sometime. Sorry, I brought a cake. Let's see. Neon opened the box. I saw 2 cheesecakes there. We have the same taste of food, so we don't have to fight if we get 2 of the same thing. I chatted with her over the cheesecake. I talked to her about school and whatnot. If you need furniture, tell me. I might be able to get some for you. I finally got used to this food, but I might move out soon, so furniture won't be necessary. I think so. Dad wants me to come back home. I don't want to live with him, but he sounds desperate. He'd be pleased if you came home. He looked lonely while you were gone. He really said that because you don't have to live with him. Come to think of it, this was the first time I talked to Sis. I was allowed to live as a Shan Sonozaki. She didn't look like how she was at the Sonozaki house that day. The successor of the Sonozaki family, my twin sister, are two different people. The demon lives inside the leader of the Sonozakis. Our bodies are exactly the same, except for the tattoo of a demon on her back. Mion's destiny as the successor was set in stone when she got that tattoo. It's pretty simple. The Mion from that night was different from the Mion before me. When I was forced to tear off my fingernails, I momentarily despised her. But if I were the next leader of the family, I'd have to do the same thing. Shion, how are your fingernails? The wounds have closed, and I don't better stare them anymore because they look too conspicuous. But my nails still look ugly, so I don't really like showing them to people. I stared at her display my incomplete fingernails. Miyaku grew quiet and looked down. You don't have to apologize. You did what you had to do. You just played the role of the successor. I'm not holding any grudges. I'm sorry. Okay, apology accepted, but if you apologize for one time, that'll be canceled. I won't forgive you for the rest of my life. Huh? What do you mean? Well, she started apologizing. You never stopped, so I'm cutting you off. Really, you forgive me? Masatoshi could as well. My heart ached when she mentioned his name. I like just the ache of an old wound. I figured you loved him. No wonder I shouted out loud in front of all of you. I'm not embarrassed anymore. Granny truly believes you have toes. She thinks you've done all you needed to do, so the matter is finished. That's good. My pain won't go to waste. I wonder where Satoshi could disappear to, though. I started choking on her, saying that I just said it to her myself. I said I would give it her completely, but that promise instantly evaporated. Just because of what she said, I felt like I turned into a completely different person. What did you just say, Mion? You just say, I wonder where Satoshi could disappear to. Who else could know other than you and your folks? What did you say? Where did he go? I felt my eyeballs running in anger and felt as though they were about to pop. I choked on a burning sensation in my throat. Mion's expression rapidly changed. It looked like she noticed a devil's mask on my face. We were one and the same. We could understand each other's thoughts without voicing them. Showing our expressions was like unveiling everything in our hearts to the other. So sorry. Even though I told her not to apologize anymore, Mion apologized. I felt like strangling her. I was going to make her confess when she hit Satoshi Gun. If she told me she's doing only a 50 swap, I strangled her to death right then and there. I really don't know what happened to Satoshi Gun. That's a lie. It's true. Granny doesn't know anything either. Please believe me. That's a lie. Are you saying that you're sure someone's cursed demon him away? There can't be a curse. There can't be. Words kept coming out of my mouth like I was shutting a spell. I wasn't speaking by my own will anymore. There was a demon who was controlling me. The demon that had been sleeping deep inside me woke up and was speaking everything. Speaking through my mouth. My hands, the demon's hands grabbed me off my neck. You guys demon Satoshi cut away. You and the Sonozaki family give him back to me. Give him back. My hands slowly but surely squeezed Mion's neck. Mion put her hands onto mine, looked down at her fingers. The fingernails on her left hand looked as ugly as mine. Mion, what's this? Tears rolled down her cheeks. She didn't have to answer. She had the same scars as I did. She had told as well. The way those wounds were healing looked the same as mine. So did she get these wounds around the same time as I did? It was unfair that only you had to go through that. I felt so bad. I started sobbing. I stood there petrified, still wringing Mion's neck. Because I found out you loved Satoshi Gun. I really wanted you to be happy. Because it's always only you who has to suffer, even though we're twins. It did become a surprise to me that Mion might also have loved Satoshi Gun as I did. We always liked the same stuff and even the same people. She was stupid enough to feel obligated towards someone like me. I told her to leave you and Satoshi Gun alone. I shouted at her. Then she said she'd let you be if you told her with sincerity, and you did, so you're supposed to live happily with him. But Satoshi Gun has gone away. That's terrible. That's... Mion is inspired to shed crocodile tears. Those tears were real. Her tears dissolved into demon's anger, like all the sun melts ice. Believe me, I really don't know why Satoshi Gun disappeared. Neither Granny nor the Sonozaki family has anything to do with it. Granny forgave you, so she would never do anything to him. Mion, I'm so sorry. Did I hurt you? I took my hands off her neck and held her instead. I'm not hurt. You've been hurt a lot more than me, haven't you? I shut out the demon in my mind. I believed in Mion. I had been convinced that it was the Sonozaki family that made Satoshi Gun disappear, but Mion denied it. While shedding tears between her and me, her tears are more convincing than any words. So I believed in her. It absolutely wasn't the Sonozaki family that made him disappear. So do you only think that Satoshi Gun disappeared because of Oyoshio-sama's curse? I don't believe in curses, and Mion didn't do it. It wasn't the curse of the Sonozaki family who demoned him away. I don't know. I just know it's not Mion. It's on the Sonozaki family because Mion says so. That's stupid Shion. Now you're going to ignore Satoshi Gun's voice. I know. You don't have to remind me, demon. I can hear his voice. I know he's bubbling with it. and for the expression like he always used to do, even though he knows Hup woke up. I'll help him no matter what. I'll save him if he's alive. I'll avenge him if he's dead. But Beyond didn't do it. You just want to take it on somebody, it doesn't matter who. But I'm a Shion, not a demon. You're only a part of me. Don't try to take control. Fuck off. Don't ever show up again. The demon faded away. My body went limp and I fell to the floor while holding Beyond. Shut, are you alright? I'm alright now, Beyond. Why you we two different individuals? Why can't we just be one? Stop it. We asked ourselves that so many times. But there's no answer. I'm Shion and you're Beyond. That's just how it is. I don't care if I'm Beyond or Shion. I just want to be one equal with you. There's nothing we can do. You have the demon on your back. You're destined to become the successor. And we can't change that. I don't want that. I don't need a demon. I don't want it. I'm not a demon. I want to be a human like you. Beyond is a demon and Shion is a human. Even though we're twins, there's a difference between us. Was it possible for humans to live with demons after all? It should be possible because they did it before. That's the legend of Hinamizawa. Humans and demons lived in harmony together as Higurashi watched over them. Beyond, Shion, Satoshi-kun, demons, humans. Higurashi was cursed, a series of mysterious deaths. Satoshi-kun's disappearance. We fell asleep while holding each other, while holding everything. Alright, is this the halfway point or is this the end of the chapter? Okay, so there was no halfway point really in this part. I really could use that break at some point. But anyway, guys, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.